This is Open to Hope Radio, featuring Dr. Gloria Horsley and her daughter, Dr. Heidi Horsley, coming to you on behalf of the Open to Hope Foundation, dedicated to those who are looking for hope after loss. Now, here's Dr. Gloria.
Welcome to the Open to Hope Show. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Horsley. And today, my co-host, Dr. Heidi Horsley, is in the air by now, going back to New York City, because we did a television show yesterday with some people on handling the holidays after a loss. Well, today we've got a great guest on the show, and I've met her, and I love her, Mary R. Morgan. She is a great lady and lives in New York City. She's a social worker and is a licensed psychotherapist, and she specializes in working with the twinless twins, so people who have lost a twin. She lectures on the subject of twin loss and has held a bereavement group for twins who died in the 9/11 Trade Center disaster. And she's author of a wonderful book, Beginning with the End, a memoir of twin loss and healing. Well, Mary, thank you so much for being on the show today.
I'm so happy to be with you, Gloria. This is really nice.
It's great. You know, I remember way back in the 60s, my husband and I lived in New York City. We actually lived in Queens. And I remember at that time, I think your dad, Nelson Rockefeller, was governor, right?
Yes.
And a terrible tragedy happened. Michael Rockefeller, Nelson Rockefeller's son, and your brother, was missing in New Guinea. And we all had heard about it. What we didn't know in the 60s, what I didn't know when we were all, it was over a long, weeks. Nobody knew what happened to him, and there was speculation, and the news was very high about it and all that. But what I didn't know until just recently is he's your twin.
Yes. That's absolutely right. And, when this happened, Father and I went out there together to search for him in New Guinea. And
wow.
That was a very, very, that was the beginning of my grief experience, which wasn't connected directly with death in the beginning because everybody hoped he would be found. But, of course, he was not found. He tried to swim ashore from this capsized boat that had capsized in the delta of the Elandon River. And then it was swept out to sea, and he and this other anthropologist who was with him as a translator, they tried to paddle the upside-down catamaran that they were on, very small, made of two canoes with just a platform. And it was impossible. And so after 24 hours, he decided the best thing that he could do would be to swim. The other man really didn't know how to swim very well, and so Michael decided that was the only hope they had. It's an extremely remote jungle area with these huge rivers that bisect it. So he was hoping he could swim ashore and maybe make it to one of the tiny little villages to get help. But he was never seen or heard from again.
And I want to tell people that this riveting story that Mary is telling about is in her book, The Beginning of the End, a memoir of twin loss and healing. It's riveting. And there's also a lot of charm in this book, Mary, because I love hearing about your childhood and the little vegetable garden that you and Michael did together and the things that you did. It is a very charming book, compelling, and really I would suggest that it is a wonderful read that'll touch your heart. But Mary, I want to ask you specifically about twin loss now for a minute. What's different about a twin loss?
Yeah, I think twin loss is really unique in it is another form of depersonal loss. There's no question. And I wrote the book, for people who've had depersonal loss, using my story as a kind of magnifying lens. In other words, twin loss just sort of explodes the issues and puts them right in your face. And there are really two unique issues that define, that make the twin bereavement experience unique. The first one is the twin bond. And twins, and from the moment of connection, are growing in relationship. So that means in the womb, the tiny embryos, whether they be fraternal or identical, are growing in relationship.
Yeah, and after birth, you have your own language, right? And your own movement.
Right. Well, but I wanted to point out one other thing that's so extraordinary for people to know. I was so blown away by this, that the new sonogram studies are showing that twins, that they are reaching out to each other in a kind of primitive relationship at 14 weeks of age. That is extraordinary. So by the time they're born, the little I, that sense of who you are as a person, is framed in a we.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the key to understanding twin bereavement.
Now, what have you found? I know you were working with the 9/11 families and you did twin group. What's been the hardest thing for twins?
Well, I think that the issue, first of all, is whether the twins and any twins that are listening have really established a sense of their own identity. I think that needs often for twins to be the first thing that happens. I know in my own life, until I really got a sense of myself as an individual and felt so safe with my own identity as an individual, it was very hard for me to let go my brother in terms of really coming to grips with the fact that he was gone, he was dead, and that the physical manifestation of him in my life has to be let go. First identity step needs to be sure to be taken, and that's something that's really important for therapists to know. Well, I think that the most important thing is to start listening, because we heal in connection.
Mm-hmm.
And we heal in connection to ourselves, and that is where we are. So we need to start listening to who we are and where we are. As a grieving person, we're listening and accepting our feelings and expressing them in some form. And in terms of this identity issue that you just wanted me to describe, how twins might deal with that, I think it's very important to start listening to yourself in terms of everything that comes up. Twins are so used to talking to the other twin before they even know what they really think about something. And you have to get used to saying, what do I think about what that person said? To form a new relationship to yourself so that your own sense of the I really can come forward in your life.
Wow, Mary, that's a really profound thought. I'd never thought about you. You've been speaking to the other, and now you are the I, you are the other, you are it.
That's exactly right. And you need, and it takes time to do that. And twins need to claim the time they take to heal and to explain to their therapists, get their therapists to learn, and they can go to the Twinless Twin support group international, which is, you can go to my website, www.beginningwiththeend.com, and look under resources, because there are articles there, and the Twinless Twin Support Group International, also articles on my website which help you to learn how to begin that journey and what books are helpful. And what I do with my book is to try to go through, because it took me 27 years to heal, Gloria. That's a long time. Twins do not need to have that happen, because today we have an extraordinary way of connecting with other people through the internet.
Right, absolutely.
And then things like your radio show and all that is just such a gift to people. And two, we need to claim our healing journey, because our culture does not support that. When the twins in the Trade Center disaster, that I worked with these twins who lost their twin in the Twin Tower when they collapsed, and it was an extraordinary experience for me. And they said just what you did. Often nobody recognized them as twins, and the support that was given for families was given for the wives and husbands of the people who lost their lives, and or the children of these people, and or the parents but nobody ever thought of giving any support to any twin. Most times, that's the most important relationship that that twin has, is the other twin.
Thanks, Mary.
Great, Gloria. Thank you so much.
You've been listening to Open to Hope Radio, hosted by Doctors Gloria and Heidi Horsley. Like today's edition, all of our past programs are available on demand at opentohope.com, along with helpful articles, videos, resources, and links to help get you through the toughest time of your life. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter and sign up for our monthly newsletter. Again, that's opentohope.com. Check it out today. Remember, others have been where you are. They made it through, and you can too, as long as you're open to hope.